It's time to learn how to convert a regression dataset into a classification dataset. We're going to do that together right now using the bike rentals dataset. Go ahead and open up a new Colab notebook with the provided link and make sure that the data is ready for machine learning. Okay, try it on your own, and I will do it with you. Okay, so we're doing a new Colab notebook, and let's call this one convert regression to classification. All right, and I like doing these text headers that say load the data. So I've got my provided URL, and then we're importing pandas to handle data for us. Read in the CSV file. You can probably do this in your sleep by now. If not, you will be able to soon. Sometimes you get sloppy like I do there. Made a little mistake. Because it becomes rote, you're just not thinking about it. And always check it out. Make sure it looks like you think. Because if you copy the wrong link, it's not going to work. This looks good. And then I want to check df.info. And when I look at df.info, it looks good. I can see that it's ready for machine learning. I'm going to tell you why. Because if I look at all the non-null values, they all say 731 for each column, and that's the number of rows. So if each row is 731 non-null values, there are no null values. Furthermore, the D types are all ints and floats. Floats are decimals, and ints are integers. So this looks great. Okay, data has been loaded. Now, time for the main event here. So, I mean, we say convert, let's say, yeah, why not? Convert regression to classification. I was going to say generate, but I like that. Okay, how do we do that? How do we even know it's regression, right? Well, look at the data. So if you go up to the data, okay, when doing machine learning, the first thing that you need to consider is what is the column trying to predict? If you want to predict the month, well, guess what? You can predict the month. Is that going to be useful in the real world? I don't know. Like, we know what month it is, okay? You could try to predict the temperature, but are the number of bike rentals going to help you predict the temperature? Maybe, but if you're really trying to predict the temperature, maybe you want to do it in another way. The sensible kind of column to predict here would be count. This is a bike rentals data set, and that's the number of bike rentals. So in practice, in reality, like you would be using the data from, hey, what's the weather, the wind, what day is it, and info that you would have to predict the number of rentals that is useful to a bike rental company. Okay? Why is it regression? Because the count could be anything, right? And it's quantifiable. How much? Look, 985, 801, 1,349. Great. So these are different numbers, and they could have a big range. Now, our goal is to convert the count, which is basically the target column, which makes it a regression data set, into classification. So how do we do that? We need to find a way to split the data. For instance, do we split it at 1,000 and say, hey, if there's more than 1,000 rentals, I'm going to give it a 1, less than 1,000 a 0. That seems reasonable looking at the first 5 rows. Okay? But you don't want to look just at the first 5 rows. You want to get an indication of the entire column. And how do we do that? Well, it's called CNT. We can use what? How can I get a sense of the range of this column and the distribution? Anybody remember? Dot describe, okay? So put in df cnt dot describe, press shift enter, and now you get a better idea of the spread of the column. It's between 22 and 8,714. Looks like the mean is 4,500 and the median is also about 4,500. So it could be the case that the bike rental company needs more employees on staff if there are going to be more than 5,000 rentals. I don't know if this is a stat place or not, but something like that is a real question, right? You've got to have people to do things when you're running a business. So let's just use 5,000. Okay, so what we're going to try to do, we're going to split this data into a new column that's going to be 1 if there's more than 5,000 rentals and 0 if there's less than 5,000. So how do we do that? I'm going to show you. I don't expect you to know how. All right, we are going to write function to, you can say to generate new column, to determine if there are 5,000 plus rentals. Okay. And this one, I also want to say what we did here. We view target column. So that's what we're trying to change, okay, the target column. Okay, so the way we do this, we start with the function. And the function is done based on a row. Okay, like we're going to go through and then implement it to the data frame. Okay, so do this with me. DEF, right, we define it. We're going to call it something. How about 5,000 rentals? Well, this is kind of interesting. If you do 5,000 rentals, that's considered a no-no in Python. Look at the color coding, not good. You're supposed to start not with numbers. So rental is 5,000, okay? And then in the parentheses, you actually put row, okay? It's going to go through each row. And then what do? Okay, we need to make a determination depending on whether it's greater than or less than 5,000. And so we do it using the syntax with row. So if row, and then we actually give the column here. The column is count. So if the row of the count column is greater than 5,000, we want to do something called basically set the value to 1, okay? Else, what should we do? Anybody know? So if you're confused, which would be totally understandable because it's brand new, right? What we're doing is we're trying to populate a new column with all ones and zeros. We're saying, hey, if the new column count is greater than 5,000, we give it a 1. And if it's less than 5,000, what do we give it? A 0. And finally, we want to return the value, okay? So that's the function that we use. And again, this is a specialized function because it's designed for a data frame. It's designed to go through the rows and basically generate zeros and ones based on that row. Okay, so press Shift-Enter. And then the next thing that we need to do is actually apply it to the new column. So apply rentals 5,000 function to new column, right? That doesn't create a column. We need to create the column. Okay, so let's do that now. So how do we create a new column? We get to pick the name of it. It's df, and then let's call it, I'm going to call it the same thing, rentals 5,000. Because it's in quotes, it's not, there's no confusion, right? It's something in quotes is not the function. And then what do I do with that? Well, there's a technique here that we haven't seen. It's called df.apply. It's designed to apply functions to data sets. And then what you do inside of the parentheses, you give the name of the function. You do not give the input. Okay, it's going to go through and do that on its own. You also want to write axis equals 1 to give it a column implementation. Okay? It's a little weird, but that's how you do it in pandas. And it's really powerful because it allows you to actually create a column of anything based on other columns. Cool. No errors. Let's check it out. If you don't want to try the first 5 rows, you could try the last 5, df.2. And if we scroll to the right, there we have the new column, rentals 5,000. Now we can see at the count, these all match. So we want to try to find some, I think, that also have ones. And I think let's just pick in the middle. I don't know, I'm just going to randomly pick some in the middle. So I can randomly pick rows using df.iloc, and then I could pick rows like, I don't know, like what, 300 to 308 or something. Guess. Look, there's still none of the 5,000. May have to do with like the breakdown of the seasons. So I'm just going to switch this to 200 to 208. Still none. Maybe 5,000 was too big. This is why it can be good to check them. What season are we in? Different season. Maybe we need to go back a little more. 100 to 108. Still none. Okay. Where are they? There are different ways you can find it, okay? Like I mean, you can just do df, the new column, which is, what do you call it? Rentals 5,000 dot value counts, okay? So this will tell us. And you can see there are 286 ones. By the way, you can just do bigger spreads of these. You could do like, you know, pick whatever you want. 128. My gosh, there aren't many. Like here's one. But you know, I think a spread like that is totally fine for machine learning, right? So we're going to go with it. Okay. So that is how you convert regression to classification. This is powerful. Okay. If you have a regression data set and it's not performing well, you could try this. Okay. You could try it anyways, even if your regression data set is performing well. You know, you can create like imaginary scenarios for your project. Like for instance, in this case, we're saying, hey, this is an imaginary bike rental company. And if there's more than 5,000, they need like more staff. So, you know, this is a cool like little technique that you can do.